My name is Sandra and I'm a 24-year-old. I graduated in 2008 and now I am working as a civil servant. Life is pretty normal. Outside of work, I spend my time with friends and family. I also try to eat well and exercise regularly to keep myself healthy. I had colorectal cancer, which is basically cancer of the large intestine. It was discovered at stage 3 during a pre-employment medical checkup. After diagnosis, I was scheduled for surgery in a few days and due for chemo in the next month. Simple, everyday concerns I had prior to the diagnosis, such as going on a holiday, what I was going to do in my new job, or even what I planned to do in the next 3 years of my life seemed to vanish. I have been in remission for more than a year now, but I still require frequent visits to the doctors, about once every 3 months. Throughout my illness, I had a core group of people in my life who offered me support. My mother took 1 year off work so she could take care of me. And I now understand how physically demanding and emotionally draining it is to be a caregiver. I also found strength in reading my Bible. My cancer journey was filled with peaks and trials of emotions. The trials were moments of despondency when I questioned, why me? I could hardly believe that I had to go through all these. For about 1 to 2 months after treatment, I spent time recuperating. At that point, I also had an application that was pending with the organization that I was supposed to work with prior to my diagnosis. Everything appeared positive, but I did not want to get my hopes up too high. Strangely enough, I subsequently had 2 dreams that my application would be rejected. So one evening, the HR lady called me and, in an apologetic voice, said that the doctors decided not to clear me, as they felt I was not fit for employment. Some of my relatives said that this was workplace discrimination, and suggested that I write in to the Straits Times forum to complain. I was not as disappointed as I thought I would be, as I felt that I had been prepared for this outcome through my 2 dreams. At times, I was naturally pessimistic about finding a job because of the poor economy and discouraging words from people around me. They gave me well-meaning advice, such as applying for jobs at religious welfare organizations, because they would most likely be sympathetic about my condition and offer me a job that wouldn't stress me out too much. I never applied for such places. I knew that they meant well, but working in such an environment was not a good fit for my personality and inclinations. I also disliked the assumption that I had to be limited by a medical history and do things that were not a good fit for me. I also disliked the stereotypical idea that I'd be too weak to take on a normal job. Subsequently, I got a job at my current company. I am now on a 1-year contract in the business of learning and development. My current director and bosses have been very understanding towards me and have never been patronizing or overly sympathetic. Actually, they just treat me normally, but each time after I go for a medical checkup, my boss would just ask me how the checkup went, out of concern. Yet there are times when I feel I need to do well at my workplace, because I was hired despite my medical history. Without much detail, my director has once told me that he hired me despite certain opposition that he faced. Unknowingly, this has made me feel that I had to work hard to meet or exceed people's expectations. And this may just be one consequence I have to learn to cope with in my survivorship journey.